The question I have for you, Brandon, is Ben Roethlisberger a first ballot Hall of Famer?
So what's crazy about this is you're not the only Steelers fan or football fan I've had this heated, and I mean heated debate with. A couple people. But I'm going to actually flip it to you guys because I want to hear where you guys are coming from. So I'm going to ask you guys, is Ben Roethlisberger a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, can I hear your reasons why?
When looking at a player making the Hall of Fame, accolades and success mean a lot. You won MVP.
Wait, time
that's
out
great.
before you start. Not just Hall of. We're not. Let's be specific. First ballot. Continue.
When you look at the best of the best, are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. They got to have the accolades and the success, the numbers, an MVP, all of that stuff. But what we tend to discount is the impact they had on the game. Let's look at Ben Roethlisberger's career and what he left behind. He's the most sacked quarterback ever. When he makes the Hall of Fame, because he's going to, he will be the most sacked of all time. He'll be the heaviest, the biggest. How often did we see guys at 6'5", 235 plus, scrambling at the pocket, throwing a defensive linebacker off his shoulder, extending a play when all breaks down, and then flinging it 40 yards down the field across the sideline to Heath Miller or another receiver? The way he played the game at the position revolutionized what a quarterback is. Now today we're looking for a guy who can extend the play. You watch Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert. These are bigger quarterbacks that all have the physical tools to make a play on the ground. They can extend it. They can break a tackle. They can then fling the ball across the field because they got the arm strength, the talents. They've also got that X factor too. When you look at moments, Ben Roethlisberger has irrefutably one of the greatest Super Bowl moments we will ever see. One of the greatest throws in NFL history, not NBA. And when you look at that Super Bowl he won with the Steelers, and then you look at the first one, where he made a game-saving tackle against Peyton Manning when it was all on the line. 3 years into the league, 2 years in, helping the Steelers get to the Super Bowl. When you look at moments, stuff that defines legacies, he was there. In his last season, he led the NFL at 39 years old in fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives. He was limited, and yet still, he found a way to get his team to the postseason. He was the utmost winner. He went to the Super Bowl 3 times in 6 years. Won 2 of them. He added 2 of them to not just any trophy case, but the Pittsburgh Steelers trophy case. And the issue I have is everyone likes to compare him to the best of the best. Who was the best at their best? And we know that's Tom Brady. He is the greatest of all time. And that's the exact issue. We're comparing a guy like Michael Jordan to the other players in the 90s. He clears the rest. But then that takes away from the greatness of a Hakeem Olajuwon. And the same exact thing can be said of Ben Roethlisberger. He was one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in his time. His legacy. He wasn't Phillip Rivers numbers-wise. He had seasons like it, but unlike Phillip, he went to the Super Bowl 3 times. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was the exact emblem of what Pittsburgh is. Pittsburgh is not about glitz and glamour. He represented it. He would enjoy himself, eat a burger or 2, sip a beer. That's who Ben Roethlisberger was. That's who he is. His personality's not going on keto diets like Brady and all of that. And that's not what Pittsburgh is. You ever go to Pittsburgh? They're not doing that garbage. They're enjoying themselves. Ben Roethlisberger did that, and he was the theme of the city. They're naming burgers after him. How many other quarterbacks have that? And at the same time, he's winning at the highest level. How many times missed the playoffs? 2, 3 times? And even still, never, ever when he was the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers were they out of the fight. He was one of the toughest quarterbacks in the game, and that toughness with his talent levels and his physical build created one of the most storied NFL careers we have ever seen. But just because he played in the same time as Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, we're going to forget his greatness with Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher? I don't understand that. The fact he was that winner.
Okay. So Dustin, do you want to go?
Yeah, it's tough to follow up the Pittsburgh faithful over there, but hear me out. So I think when you look at Big Ben, it's very easy. You compare him to his draft class. You look at Eli Manning, you look at Phillip Rivers. Now, quick question, just yes or no. Are those two quarterbacks Hall of Famers in your eyes?
Yes, they are. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer, not a first ballot. And I think Phillip Rivers is on the cusp, but I think at some point he will get in because of his longevity numbers.
Brandon, yes or no? Are they both no? Or
no.
Both?
Yeah, no. Both no.
Okay. In my eyes, I see them both as Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Their numbers, their upper echelon. And I saw you one day list Kurt Warner as your top 10 quarterback. I almost puked. But anyways, on to Big Ben. So it's very easy. You compare him to his two quarterbacks in that draft class. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, went 3 times. But he also ran into this buzzsaw named Tom Brady, as John mentioned. And I loved your Jordan reference because I was thinking the same thing where I'm like, think about how many teams in the Eastern Conference I look at my Knicks that should have won maybe 1 or 2 championships, but just ran into the buzzsaw of Michael Jordan. Reggie Miller could have probably won himself a ring. And I just feel like Big Ben just ran into that. 2 AFC title games. How many against the Patriots? 2 of them, right? 2 or 3.
It might have been 3.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So going up against them three separate times, man, it's pretty tough to just crucify him for that. I think Big Ben should have a lot more in his trophy case if he wasn't playing in the same conference as Tom Brady and the boys.
Okay. So you guys laid out your arguments and whatnot. Now, let me bring you guys back to a little reality, right? So the question is, do I believe Big Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer? The answer is no. Now, if you ask me, do I think he probably will be a first ballot Hall of Famer? The answer is yes, because of everything you guys just said. Okay, the voters are going to look at that. But for me, when we talk first ballot, I don't want the Hall of Fame to start getting watered down like the NBA, where basically any great player can get in. Okay, because this is the Hall of Fame. This is the best of the best. And the first ballot is the elite of the elite. And you guys both brought up Tom Brady. And John even mentioned that Ben was at least a top, I think he said 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 quarterback in his time. Are you sure about that?
Definitely top 5. And I would say he is right in that same category with
because
Bruce
you guys
and
both brought up Tom Brady, but you guys failed to leave out a guy by the general Peyton Manning, Aaron frickin' Rodgers, who actually I believe, John, you might beat your Steelers in the Super Bowl, beat that very Big Ben and Mike Tomlin team.
Maybe been a little tears in the night.
You guys also forgot Drew Brees. Also, Ben Roethlisberger has played a long time. So he played in the era of also Brett Favre. You forget him. And he's also played a long time to play with a new generation, a Hall of Fame already. I don't care what you say. I've gotten on the train. Patrick frickin' Mahomes, okay? These guys, Ben, I love Ben Roethlisberger. I don't want this to sound disrespectful. I love Ben Roethlisberger. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's done all of this for Pittsburgh. He's Pittsburgh through and through. All right. Love Mike Tomlin. But name me the accolades, please. Can you name me the all pros?
I'm having a hard time here because Calvin Johnson made first ballot Hall of Fame and he did nothing to Ben. In terms of winning, you love winning. It's the grand all be all.
He's a receiver. He's a receiver. That's different. Receivers
Troy
don't
Polamalu
affect the game like that. Quarterbacks affect winning more than a receiver. A single receiver.
Tomlin and Ben are right underneath Belichick and Brady. Like I said before, that gets watered down, man. Troy Polamalu was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I just said.
If Troy Polamalu was, and Jack Lambert was,
the greatest strong safety in my opinion. He's the greatest strong safety I've ever seen play in my lifetime.
But if the quarterback position is more valuable, And he's the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, better than Terry Bradshaw. In all due respect to Terry, as a Super Bowl
he is.
MVP and a regular season MVP, Ben was our best quarterback.
John, okay, that's fine. But please answer these. Name me the All-Pros. Never made first or second team.
Yeah,
that means
but,
he wasn't voted as the best. Wait, Justin, just 1 second before. 17 years in the league. This might surprise you. Only 6 Pro Bowls. That's shocking.
You said before Pro Bowls don't matter.
Hold on.
Amen.
I know they don't, but also Ben Roethlisberger played 17 years. He played in an era where the Pro Bowl actually did matter for a little bit. He did, before people started taking off like crazy and not even showing up. But only 6, that's a little, for a first ballot, that's a little low. You don't want me to name Drew Brees', Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning's, Tom Brady's Pro Bowls, okay? Because it's going to be laughable. No MVPs, no Super Bowl MVPs, no Super Bowl MVPs. Look, his stats in his 3 Super Bowls: 60% completion percentage, only 642 yards, 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions.
You know what his winning percentage is in those games? Because winning matters.
He's got 2 rings, but he
66%.
He didn't show up though.
Huh?
Look at the numbers I just gave you.
Show up. Did you not see the throw to Santonio Holmes?
He did make that throw. He did, but I'm looking at all 3 combined together. 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. If Tom Brady had a negative interception touchdown ratio, your eyes would widen.
Let me tell you something about Ben Roethlisberger. The first Super Bowl, as a 23-year-old, he did not play well against Seattle. And guess what?
No.
It did not matter.
They won, yeah.
Why? The defense, the players around him. He was a young guy. He was the one that brought them there. Why? Did you forget about the play he made against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis before? The tackle? Game saving? Without that, Peyton Manning goes to the Super Bowl that year. And then you go to a second Super Bowl.
Yep.
The defense, I wouldn't say it failed the Steelers, but Larry Fitzgerald exposed them with going berserk on the Cardinals' game-winning drive. And Ben Roethlisberger, despite all counts of adversity, penalties, one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, drives down the field and makes the greatest throw I've ever seen in 15 years watching the NFL in the Super Bowl.
And guess what? Wasn't Super Bowl MVP.
And guess
Why not?
I don't
means
vote.
The voters said he wasn't the best player on the field.
And guess what? He made the greatest play. And I think he should have won it. But Santonio, at the same time, he made one of the greatest catches. Yeah. One of them had to win it. Look at the third one versus the Packers. He played fine. Wasn't a great showing. It reminds me a little bit of what Aaron Rodgers usually is in the playoffs, where we don't actually discredit him for not playing at a standard of excellence in the regular season. He was good. He was fine. He had, I believe, 2 turnovers, one of which was costly, very costly. But at the same time, his teammates made mistakes. Rashad Mendenhall had a back-breaking fumble, and that took all the momentum and stole it from Pittsburgh and put it in Green Bay's hands. The first one was bad, he won. The second one, he showed up when it mattered most. Solid performance, elite play at the very end, and he won. The third one, the team didn't play well enough, and Green Bay was the better squad. And guess what since then? He's put up easily Pro Bowl numbers, and he's played in the NFL for 17 years on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Never played for a different team. There's value in playing for, unlike Brett Favre, played for Pittsburgh. Not just any team. Tom Brady even. He didn't spend an entire career in New England, did he? How many quarterbacks can you say spent their entire career with the one franchise that drafted them that also happens to be one of the 2 or 3 greatest in the league? To me, it's the greatest, the most storied. And he was a piece of that story. You don't have it without him.
And I'm not discrediting that. I'm giving him his glory. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's not first ballot. Name me the first team All-Pros. Name me the second teams. 6 Pro Bowls in 17 years. You can't explain that. No MVP.
That's tough with 2 of the greatest, my top 2 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
And that's my point, Justin, time out. That's my exact point.
Okay,
you were in an era.
They were the top 2 quarterbacks in the AFC.
Aaron Rodgers
was number 3.
In AFC or
in the AFC.
Back then,
Philip Rivers was garbage.
Yeah, probably Big Ben.
It's
or
Big
Philip
Ben.
Rivers. They probably were arguing.
And honestly, I don't think it goes like that. Maybe in 2007, sure, but Ben Roethlisberger.
But we're talking the whole NFL.
easily.
We're not just.
No,
We can't
and
just
you're, but
separate
I'm
it.
talking right now, AFC in his conference. What stood in his way from, and he never did anything beautiful. Ben Roethlisberger's not cute. He didn't make the cute, flashy plays or anything
No, he
like
didn't.
that. It was always ugly. It was always tough. It was always rugged. That's how he got it done. Ben Roethlisberger was a winner, man. The only thing I'll ever
Yes.
discredit him for is his period of time with the Killer Bees when he had Bell and AB out there, and even Martavis Bryant. Those teams should have won a Super Bowl. If there was any team that could have finally gotten past New England, it was those. Those would be the only times I could discredit him. But
And there
outside
you
of that,
go. But that's what I'm saying, Justin. That's my whole point. Is he played in an era with these guys, and if you're saying he played in an era with these guys, that means he wasn't the best of the best because people were better than him, which means he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer because he was outplayed by these other guys, 4 or 5 other guys that I named you.
Let me say something about that Killer Bee era. So, guys, the best team in the NFL does not always win the Super Bowl. Rarely.
No, they don't, but
It's a war. Let me say something, though. When the Steelers won the Super Bowl in 2005 as the last seed to make the conference, it was because Carson Palmer shredded his knee against them in the wild card. Without that, the Steelers do not beat the Ravens and then go on to win a Super Bowl for Jerome Bettis. Then you look at 2016, and there's this funny thing that happens. Le'Veon Bell goes down against the Bengals with his MCL, does not play for the postseason. Antonio Brown, out thanks to the Bengals and Vontaze Burfict, one of the stupidest plays I've ever seen. So now you're missing those two key pieces. Martavis Bryant was suspended for, I believe, part of that season. He comes back. But D'Angelo Williams, one of the best backup running backs at the time, he then goes down with, I believe, a foot injury. So we're missing our top 3 weapons, and all we have is Martavis Bryant. Ben, by the way, could barely move his shoulder because there was a serious injury to his AC joint days before, or a week before. And even still, he thoroughly outplayed the Broncos' Brock Osweiler in that game. And throwing to Sammy Watkins, I think, Eli Rogers, and then Martavis Bryant, he almost brought him to the Super Bowl. And that Broncos team went on to win Peyton Manning that last Super Bowl. The Steelers were the better team that year because without their 3 top weapons and Marquise Pouncey, the best center in football who tore his ACL, by the way, in that season, the Steelers were going to be the Broncos, but the offense did not have anywhere near enough talent, and that was one of Ben's craziest showings. They still would have had to
gone through the Patriots, though.
He put up 300-plus yards against the best defense in the NFL that game.
Patriots in the playoffs. Never.
Yeah. Is Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon, are they not definitive Hall of Famers? Is Hakeem's a bad example because he never lost to
them. Hall of Famer. Did I ever once say Ben Roethlisberger?
You said he'd eventually get in.
He is a Hall of Famer. I'm arguing first ballot. And like I said in one of my first sentences, I said, I don't want to water down the NFL Hall of Fame like the NBA Hall of Fame because people get in that don't really deserve to get in, or didn't. I should not deserve, earn the right to get in. This is the elite company. And now we're even talking the elite of the elite because we're going first ballot. And you bring up these injuries and these what if scenarios. Yeah, what if? Guess what? In 2012, when the Patriots played the Giants, if freaking Gronkowski wasn't injured, we would have won that Super Bowl easily. All right. If Asante Samuel would have caught that interception in the final drive against Eli Manning, we would have went 19-0 and had the greatest team in NFL history. If Drew Brees and the Saints don't get that pass interference call on them, the worst call in NFL history in the championship game against the Rams, I believe, they probably move on to the Super Bowl maybe. Like if Phillip Rivers, if he doesn't tear his ACL in the playoffs in 2007, maybe they give the Patriots a run for their money. There's these what ifs we can't. He didn't do it. His legacy is cemented. It's done. He can't do anything to change it anymore. So we have to base off what he has laid out. And you still have not given me where are the All Pros? Where are more Pro Bowls? Where are the MVPs? Where are the Super Bowl MVPs? There are none. You can't give me them. So he is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I apologize. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a great player, but
what about his accumulation of touchdowns? He's a top 10 in all time.
Okay,
touchdowns, top 10 in yards.
Justin, I'm not arguing he wasn't great over a long period of time. He was. That's great. That's more of a longevity stat. Give me the things I just asked for.
Brandon,
until you give me those, I'm not changing my point.
You value winning, though. It's grand all be all, right?
Yes.
Ben Roethlisberger is one of
plenty
the
of it.
winningest quarterbacks in NFL history. He did that, been there, and like Justin said, he lost to Tom Brady 3 times in the postseason. There's a good chance one of those years, maybe his rookie year, he goes to the Super Bowl and wins it. And if that were the case, without Brady, he could have been a 3 or 4-time Super Bowl champ. And to me,
again, you just gave a caveat without Brady. Okay, without if Peyton Manning and Eli Manning's parents didn't meet, guess what? Tom Brady would have went 10 for 10 in the Super Bowl. Okay, don't give me the what ifs anymore. And I guess I value winning, but I also said earlier, it's winning, it's accolades, it's accomplishments, it's stats, it's eye test. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have the accolades.
Do moments not matter in the biggest stage? They don't matter.
He's right in the sense that he doesn't have the accolades.
Does impact matter? Does impact matter? The impact of changing the quarterback position, because now all of a sudden you see guys that are being compared to Ben. Oh, he's Ben Roethlisberger. We're using Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. He changed the way the position is viewed. These gunslingers that are giants. They could be an offensive lineman almost.
But also that doesn't make you a first ballot Hall of Famer.
As a guy that spent 17 years playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Reliable,
with 6
Canton,
Pro Bowls.
That
So
doesn't
11
matter.
of the years he wasn't even a Pro Bowl.
You said
caliber
yourself, Pro Bowls don't hold weight, and especially when you're playing with the 2 greatest quarterbacks at the same time in the same conference, that holds especially true. Because you know who was making Pro Bowls over him those years? Guys like Phillip Rivers or an Alex Smith, and they were not better than Ben.
Phillip Rivers is actually an 8-time Pro Bowler. Tony Romo made a second-team All-Pro. Ben Roethlisberger's got none. How do you explain that?
How many Super Bowls do those guys have? Remind me. How many times have they been to that stage?
They don't.
But
how many
winning's
Super Bowl
more
MVPs
important.
does Ben Roethlisberger have? Because
It
now
doesn't
if you want
matter.
to compare,
He won the Super Bowl.
He did win the Super Bowls, but now let's compare
It's
him
like
again.
the Steph Curry thing, dude. I don't get it.
Hold on, John, hold on. I gave you quarterbacks that really aren't on Ben Roethlisberger's level. Let's be honest. All right, let's give you the people that are better than him. Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Peyton. You can't compare them. So he's not first ballot.
Do you understand how short of a list that is?
There's more. I can name more. Brett Favre. I can go. I don't have my top 10 quarterback list of all time on my hand, but I can name more. Like, let's be honest, man.
What would be honest about that? Ben changed the quarterback position as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and he represented the city of 6 rings like no other, with the greatest Super Bowl moments making it to there, or just winning the game itself. That he was thoroughly one of the greatest winners that put up some of the greatest numbers and was one of the most efficient players at the position by far.
Interesting you say that, but he's got no All-Pros or MVPs to show for it.
But who cares about the accolades?
I also consider his division too. The division that he played in was no slouch. He was going against some tough Ravens defenses, as opposed to, and not a knock on Brady and Peyton, but you're playing against the Jets and the Bills, the Dolphins. Peyton Manning going against the Texans and the Jaguars and the Titans. The competition level to get to the postseason they had bye weeks almost every year.
Again, though, I'll give Ben Roethlisberger credit for that, but I won't take it away from Peyton and Brady because you are dealt the card you're dealt.
100%.
You have
You're
to play.
100% right.
You have to play the hand you have.
But isn't it
not your choice who makes the schedule?
But that's where I say it just betters his argument as a Hall of Famer.
It does.
As a first ballot
but then we get to the nitty gritty because we're splitting hairs here. We're splitting hairs here again. We're talking first ballot, so we got to nitpick, right? We have to, because I don't want to water it down, and I don't think you guys want to have the Hall of Fame watered down.
100%.
It's first ballot, so give me the accolades that I asked for, and you can't produce them because they never happen. So I'm sorry. I love Ben, like I said before already. He's great. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not first ballot.
You said Drew Brees was better. Unlike Drew, it's more impressive that Ben didn't spend his entire career playing in a dome or on the West Coast. He was playing in Pittsburgh. How many guys can play there?
Again, I'm not holding that against.
It adds to the impressiveness. The magnitude.
Okay, that's fine. You can give that to him.
Not everyone can play in Pittsburgh.
For how many years too? Peyton played in Indy.
Exactly. You're bringing up the 2 greatest. That's the point, man.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. So we're comparing. I just got finished saying we're nitpicking. We're splitting hairs. So we have to compare him against the best of the best. So if he's getting compared against the best of the best and he doesn't match up, what happens? He gets the boot. And I'm sorry, but this is how it is. It's competition. You weren't the best of the best. You were still great. You were just there. You were right freaking there. But guess what? You were born in an era with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, and new breeds like Patrick Mahomes, and people that freaking flushed out. Who I believe, I don't even actually want to get into that. That I'm not going to leave that out. But my argument still stands about those other players. Like, I'm sorry, but we're running in circles here. But until you produce those accolades that I'm asking for, I'm not changing my mind.
I think we'll just agree to disagree.
If that's your criteria, man, and you value winning at the same time for certain subjects, then all right, okay.
It's a totality thing when you're looking at their career. It's totality. It's everything. You got to look at everything. That's what I'm looking at.
Pro Bowls veto the greatest moments, the impact, the magnitude of playing for one of the greatest organizations in your entire career and being the emblem of that organization. I agree, because Terry Bradshaw was first ballot Hall of Fame, but Ben Roethlisberger isn't. Although he
I don't agree with that. If you ask me, Terry Bradshaw's first ballot Hall of Famer, no.
Well, yes, and that is the criteria.
But that also was a different. We have to be honest. That was a different time,
different era,
and the stats were actually probably good back then.
Well, he was
even
MVP.
though we look at them now and they were crap. Let's be honest, they're crap.
He won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, and he was.
I understand that, but like if we look at the stats compared to nowadays, different era. So those stats were good back then. I don't agree he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, but
the difference between the two
accolades not in the conversation. If we're just talking winning football and who's going to win us a game,